My name is Mark Matson. It's my dad, Harold Matson, Downsville, New York. We have a dairy farm, 200 cow milking dairy farm. We're located below the Pepacton Reservoir on the east branch of the Delaware River. As far as floods go, we've been impacted a couple different times. I can't keep the floods actually
04, 05, 06.
Right, I can't keep them. They just kind of one goes into the other. We've kind of gotten used to them. They have caused a lot of topsoil loss. Some of our fields are still recovering. It's a slow process. I mean, yields are down on some of our fields. We've got washed out pretty good.
In 04, it was in September. What was your crop loss then? Because you couldn't use it, right?
Yeah, our corn, a lot of our corn was like three feet on, or water went through about 3-4 feet deep. Extension called them because we had a lot of silt and whatnot in the plants, and we're concerned about the bacteria and stuff that they brought in. And so what we did, we chopped our corn high, left a lot of the crop residue in the field, and we put on some preservatives and some other stuff, and we had tonnage wise per acre probably lost maybe a 20 to 30%, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And what would that be in money value, roughly?
Well, the corn silage, I mean, usually if you have to buy corn silage, it's like $25 a ton, somewhere in there, probably. So normally we chop about 1,500 tons of corn silage.
Both the national government and the state government, the elected officials, are trying to increase farm subsidies and everything for milk. When you talk about the economic loss, unless that comes through, doesn't a flood automatically put you into tougher times?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you just kind of, I don't know, farmers have a tendency to tighten their belts and figure out a way to survive. We do have a good relationship with our money lenders, and
I call that the rugged individualism that I attribute to stonecutters too.
Right. Sometimes I think we're our own worst enemies in that aspect, but that's part of the business, I guess.
So any kind of break as far as the flood crests are concerned, if they were lower, it would help out with checking some of that damage.
Yeah, definitely. The other problems that it's kind of a snowball effect. Every time we do have a flood, that the rivers have filled in a little more. Banks that overflowed are lower now, so you have a greater potential of flooding and crop damage, because just the riverbed is higher and your banks are a little bit lower. We did have that one flood there, and I guess I can't remember which one it was, 06 maybe. It was probably a 30-acre field, and it basically, like somebody took a bulldozer and took two feet of topsoil, just gone. I mean, it just took it. I mean, it was just amazing how much force the water has.
This is the site of Delaware Valley Campsite. It had been in existence for almost 60 years when the flood of 04 devastated it first. 05 finished it, and it has since been cleaned up. It had about 30 campsites, now gone. The economic impact on the town for supplies, hairdressers, nights out, gone. Devastating to Downsville, Town of Colchester.
Hi, I'm Ann Hood. Jeff and I own Pepacton Cabin, 348 Hood Lane, Downsville, New York. We opened the cabin in 1998, the end of May. We've lived here since 1989, and the flood impact is not from the rain, it's from the reservoir coming over. During especially the first month of fishing season, you can't wade ever. It's detrimental to our economics of our cabins, especially when it comes so high. We're afraid we'll have to go and wake people up in the middle of the night to evacuate because we can't tell how high the water's going to get. And we've just been through that the last month. And then the fishermen are always unhappy because they can't ever predict what time to come because we've had floods in so many months of the year. And it's always been from the reservoir overflowing. And if they would keep a void, 10% void, 15%, any void, so that it could suck up some of the rainwater, we would be fine here. We don't mind if it gets a foot or so on the lawn. We were prepared for that when we built here. We had sun pumps put in our basement. But when you don't know if it's going to be 5 feet or 10 feet or how far it's going to go and for how long, that's the problem. The last time it flooded, the water was up to about here in the cabin, and that's the second or third time. Actually, the person who built the cabin sold it to us about 4 years ago because she couldn't deal with constantly being an out of the area resident and constantly having to deal with if it was going to flood and having to repair a cabin. So we purchased it from her, and we've tried to make sure it stays above ground if we can, but we don't really have much control. Our other cabins, we have 5 other cabins on the river over there, and they also had water all the way up on their porches, and a couple had a couple inches inside. And usually when it does flood, we can't rent for a week or so, or maybe more afterwards, because we have to wait till the water goes down. Then we have to clean all the mud out of the cabins and put new things in the cabins, whatever we need to get back in business. And it costs us thousands of dollars. And we're a small business, and it's hard for us to maintain economically when we have so many damages.
One of the famous sayings of New York City DEP is that the reservoir attenuates the floods, means it lessens them. And it also prolongs them.
24 hours it may help with rainfall, and it does contain some of it, but when they don't have any void and we are at 99.9 or 100.1 or whatever we are going into spring, everybody knows we're going to have spring thaws, everybody knows we're going to have fall rain, and if they had any void, we would be fine. We might have a little high water, but we wouldn't flood. Everybody downstream floods. And sometimes when it's not flooding anywhere else because of rain, we're flooding below the Pepacton Reservoir. After every flood, we're left with garbage. Large garbage like this, what we can't take out of the river. It's a trailer chassis. There's 2 that are stuck in the river up there. And even if we can get it out, there's nowhere to take them unless we want to pay someone to come and haul them away. We've already York raked this a number of times to get rid of all the debris and garbage. And if they want the river to be pristine, why do they want the reservoir to overfill and bring all the garbage? We've seen gas tanks and tires and all kinds of garbage floating downriver. Economically, for small businesses like ours, it's a hardship when they create the flooding by keeping the reservoir full. They're shutting off the reservoir now and it's not going over, but we don't have any void, so the next time it rains hard, it's going to be a flood stage and you won't be able to fish. Our business depends on recreational fishing. They want small businesses to thrive. Our best season is April to October, and if every time it rains, the river's going to be too high to wade and too high for fishing, people call and they want to cancel or they don't want to come. It creates an economic hardship for our small community also, because we don't have our cabins full during the week or on weekends to send them downtown to shop and to go out to dinner and to buy things.
Hello, my name is Mike Brown. I work for Al's Sports Store and the Downsville Motel. located about a half-mile below the Pepacton Reservoir. The economic impact when the reservoir is spilling actually overflows onto the road down here between the motel and in town, and we can't get anybody to come over that can stay in the motel because they can't get to us either way, even using routes further downriver to get to us because they are overflowed and have water crossing the roads down there.
So there's no business for the store and no business for the motel.
None.